and welcome. My name is Hannah Perlmutter, and we are here with Barry Finegold, who is a Democratic candidate for state treasurer. Thank you for participating.
Hannah, thank you for having me on the show.
Before we begin, let's review the format of the interview. This will be a live-to-tape interview. That means no edits once we begin. There was no pre-screening of questions, and answers will be limited to 2 minutes each. We will start with a 1-minute opening statement from the candidate, and after the questions, we will conclude with a 1-minute closing statement. Mr. Finegold, you now have 1 minute for an opening statement.
Thank you, Hannah. Might be helpful for the viewers to know a little bit about me. My family lives up in Andover. I'm married to my wife, Amy. I have 3 kids, Ava, Ella, and Max. Max is 2 years old. He thinks he runs the household. But my own family started off in the Georgetown housing projects in Hyde Park. It wasn't until my dad got a job at the Northern Essex Community College that my family moved up to the North Shore. So both my parents were public school teachers. And when you grow up with a family of 2 public school teachers, they taught me at a very young age that there's no magic in life, there's only hard work. So I learned at a very young age that if I wanted anything in life, I'd have to work hard. So when I was 10 years old, I had a paper route for the Boston Globe, worked 2 jobs to pay for my own college education, put myself through law school, and then went on to become a selectman, a state representative, a state senator. And in that time, I've always stood up for middle-class values, and I'm someone that will make sure, as treasurer, that we invest in Massachusetts and we make sure we have good middle-class jobs. It's pretty good, right on the minute, right?
We will now proceed to the questions. Mr. Finegold, you have up to 2 minutes to answer each question. Why are you running for state treasurer, and what prepares you to serve in this capacity?
Well, Hannah, I want to invest in Massachusetts. I want to use our pension funds to create more jobs. I want to use our school building authority to give 21st century classrooms. For example, I know Arlington's talking about a new high school, something that I want to help make sure happens. And I want to make sure that with the local aid, I want to send as much money back to our local communities as possible. So I want to continue to invest in Massachusetts using the Office of the Treasurer's Office. Of all the candidates in this race, I have the most experience. I have experience in banking. I have experience in the private sector. I'm the only candidate that's actually started their own business. I'm the only candidate that's actually been a selectman, a state representative, and a state senator. So I have the experience to do this job from day one. I've worked with the current treasurer, Steve Grossman, on issues like financial literacy. Because in our state, we have way too many people that are losing their houses to foreclosure or to bankruptcy. And I want to make sure that we do something about that. And I've led the charge in the legislature on financial literacy. I've also worked with the Treasurer Steve Grossman on issues like college education and making sure we help young people get loans and things of that nature. So I want to be helpful in any way I can in financial literacy. I want to make sure that we have a good school building authority, and I think I have experience from day one to get the job done.
Okay. Do you believe that the state treasurer has been an aggressive watchdog on behalf of taxpayers? And please give us specific examples to justify your answer.
Yeah, I think one of the things that Steve Grossman has done, which has been great, is he has an open checkbook. So it allows there to be, people can go online, they can see how the state is spending its money, and I think that is something that has been very good. I have a history of pushing for things like election law reform. I've been someone who's been a true advocate for reform. I helped pass a law that allows you to be online registration, early voting, and I just helped author a law that basically will have better disclosure for super PACs. So I have a track record in the legislature of basically standing up and making sure there's transparency in government. And I think the best way to judge is someone going to be transparent as treasurer, have they been transparent as elected official? And I have a great track record of doing that. I've supported the ethics reform, I've supported pension reforms, and I think I'll do a great job as your next state treasurer, making sure that we have as transparent and honest and making sure people understand how the state is spending its money, and I want to make sure that continues.
Can you please give us 2 examples of how you think the state treasurer could have done more or better during the last 4 years?
Well, I'm not so questioning whether the treasurer could have done better, but I think there's just some differences that the current treasurer has and I have, and I respect those differences. But I've always been opposed to gaming. I'm very concerned about the direction in our state of casino gaming. I voted against it as a member of the House. I voted against it as a member of the Senate, and I think it's a mistake for many reasons for the Commonwealth. First of all, the social costs. To have more people being addicted to gaming, I think is a mistake. But if you look at the numbers, our lottery right now basically makes about $5 billion a year. we net about $1 billion a year, and most of it goes to local communities like Arlington. With gaming coming on, our best case scenario is we might make $400 to $600 million. And of that, only 25% will be dedicated to local communities. So for lack of a better expression, and a really, really bad pun, to me, gaming is a bad bet for Massachusetts, for the social costs and the economic costs. And I think it's a serious mistake that we're going down this road. And I think it's just not the good path that we should be taking. And I would just say that I'm all for economic development. I'm all for creating jobs. And that's why I want to use the pension funds to invest in Massachusetts. Right now, we invest less than 1/3 of 1% of our total pension funds in Massachusetts. We need to do better. So I'm saying that we shouldn't have gaming, but at the same time, I'm also saying we do need economic development. And the right type of economic development is investment here in Massachusetts. And I have some plans to do that.
What specific proposals would you seek to implement the help of the state economy, create jobs, and attract business to the Commonwealth?
Well, just talking about using our pension funds to invest in Massachusetts, I also have another program that I want to work on as well. It's called the Linked Deposit Program. I want to provide low-cost loans for minority-owned businesses, women-owned businesses, and veteran-owned businesses. Right now, women own 30% of small businesses, but they only get 16% of the loans that are out there. So we need to do better. My own wife is a small business owner. She owns a women's clothing store in Andover. And I know how hard it was for her to start a business. So what I want to do is what's called a linked deposit program. We're going to give low interest loans, so call it maybe 2 to 3%, to minority-owned businesses, women-owned businesses, and veteran-owned businesses to help jumpstart our economy. Because I still feel the best way to really move things forward is entrepreneurship. I've had the honor of representing the city of Lawrence, a gateway city, as a senator. And I've seen what can happen when you provide entrepreneurship. But a lot of time, people want to start businesses, and these can be small businesses. But a lot of times, they don't have access to capital or debt, and I want to make sure that we provide enough capital and enough debt to make sure that we can have people start businesses. And the program I'm talking about, they've already done this in Idaho, they've done this in Connecticut, they've done this in Missouri, and I think we can do this here in Massachusetts as well. And I think it'd be a great program to make sure that we can jumpstart our economy.
Okay. Are you satisfied with the present state pension system? And if elected, would you pursue pension reform? And if yes, can you give us 2 specific examples?
Well, I would just say I'm not satisfied because I'm very concerned about the amount of unfunded pension liability. Right now, our pension is only 60% funded. Most states are 74% funded. So what we have done in the legislature is we have basically said, okay, for the next 3 years, we're going to put an extra 10%. And then after that, we're going to put an extra 7% per year to get finally fully funded by 2036. I do think we have to be open to potential, more changes. We have a great problem that people are living longer. So I think we have to be open to looking at retirement ages for new employees. And I think these are things that are tough to have these discussions, but I think the right thing to do. And I have a track record of pushing for pension reform, making sure that you don't work one day and get a full year of credit, making sure that when they look at your final years, that they average 5 years instead of 3 years. So I've taken some very difficult votes, some very tough votes, but at the same time, I'm really doing that to preserve the pension funds. And I got to tell you, Hannah, I have a special reason to make sure I do that. I have 2 parents who are retired school teachers, and if their pension checks go away, who do you think is not getting invited to Thanksgiving Day dinner? Yours truly. So I need to make sure that we have a pension fund that works, that's good for the Commonwealth, but also honors the commitment that the retirees signed up for. Because what frustrates me is that a lot of people are like, let's get rid of the pension funds. And what people don't understand is that my parents don't get Social Security. And if we got rid of the pension system, instead of paying maybe 3 or 4%, which is what we typically contribute for an employee, we'd have to increase that to 6.25%. So wouldn't it be a great bargain for the Commonwealth? And that's why I want to preserve our pension funds. I want to make sure that we honor the commitment that we've signed up, the retirees have signed up for. And at the same time, I want to make sure that we make solid investments. One of the things that I'm committed to doing is visiting all the people that manage our money and make sure that we do that.
I have to cut you off.
Absolutely. No.
Please explain how the current distribution of lottery funds work, and if elected, would you pursue changes? And then please give us some examples to support your
Yeah,
position.
I think the lottery is something that has been a great driver of local aid. However, there are some communities that play a lot more and get back a lot less. I would look at a formula that would not penalize any communities right now, but if there are increases, give more of the increases to the communities that are playing more. They tend to be more urban communities, frankly, people that can least afford to be playing in these communities, and I think that's why we should try to send back more money to a lot of these communities, which most of them are gateway cities. So I think it's a balance, but what I don't want to do is I don't want to penalize any community, but I do think if there are increases, we should give more to the communities that play more.
Okay. Can you please give us one example of an issue that you and your opponents agree on, and then 2 issues in which you differ, and why your position best represents the interest of the Commonwealth?
I think we actually all agree on casino gaming. I think we're all the same on that. But I think what really makes us different is really my background. I'm the only candidate in this race that's ever started their own business. I'm the only candidate in this race that's actually had the experience of serving on the local level and the state level. So I've been a selectman, I've been a state representative, I've been a state senator. I also feel I have the most financial experience. I'm the only one who actually ever worked in a bank. So I have that as well. So I think it's qualifications for this job I think are really important. You manage a lot of money. You oversee a lot of things like the lottery, like the school building authority. And I just feel with my background, I just feel I'm the most qualified because of my experiences and what I've done. So I think those are the 2 biggest things that I think where we differ.
Okay. So what makes you the best candidate?
Well, I think once again, it's really truly my background. I think when people look at my background, they say, hey, that person's a lot like me. I was very fortunate to have two parents who were public school teachers, but when you grow up with 2 parents who were public school teachers, there's not a lot out there. You have to work for everything you have. Vacations for us growing up were visiting family. There was not a lot of extras out there. And I had a paper route when I was 10 years old. When I unloaded trucks at 3 in the morning to help pay for my own college education. When I wanted to go to law school, I worked 2 jobs. And I think those are the type of things that I think most voters relate to. And I think that and I think at the end of the day, when you have to work as hard as I have to get to where I am, and value every single dollar, you bet I'm going to value each and every one of your dollars, and I'll make sure I'm a strong advocate and a strong watchdog for each and every dollar.
Okay. So what strategies would you use for working with members of other parties and with others of opposing views? And what experience do you have implementing these strategies?
Yeah, I've worked across party lines. Something I've worked on right now, which I think a lot of people are talking about, is the whole market basket issue. It's one of the most amazing things I've ever been part of, where you have employees basically saying, we're not going to work, we want to work for a culture that we've all worked hard for to build, and we don't want to just get bought out and get sold off and become just another number. And I helped organize a boycott that brought Democrats together, brought Republicans together, and liberals together, conservatives together, because this was bigger than all of us. I mean, this is about standing up for the middle class. And the stories I've heard are just amazing. And it's just so important that we all stand up and fight for the middle class, because most of these people are paycheck to paycheck. And a lot of these grocery stores provide low-cost groceries for so many people. And I think that truly, that's what makes me different in this race. That's what makes me, and I think that's the experience that I have of, I was able to, right now we start off as 1, and now we have 170 legislators, Democrats, Republicans, from Massachusetts, from New Hampshire. And I think I have a track record of working across the aisle and getting things done, and I can do that, as your next state treasurer.
Okay. Mr. Finegold, now you have 1 minute for your closing statement.
Okay. Well, once again, there was a famous story that Tip O'Neill made famous. He ran for office, and he knocked on his neighbor's door, and he said to her, "Why didn't you vote for me?" And you know what she said? "Because you didn't ask." So my first thing I want to do is I want to respectfully ask for your vote on September 9th. My name is State Senator Barry Finegold. I'm the son of 2 public school teachers. I've had to work for everything that I have, and those type of values I'll bring to the Treasurer's office. And I want to use those values to invest in Massachusetts by using our pension funds to create jobs, by using our treasurer's office to make sure that we have the most robust school building authority so we can do things like in Arlington by building a new high school. And I want to make sure that we are sending money back to our local communities so communities like Arlington can have enough money for police and fire and other necessary things. Once again, my name is State Senator Barry Finegold, and I respectfully ask for your vote running for state treasurer on September 9th. Thank you very much.
We want to thank Mr. Finegold for participating in our conversation. Please make your voice count by voting at the state primary on September 9th, 2014. For Arlington Public News, this is Hannah Perlmutter. Thank you.